Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're going to have some fun doing some demolition. Who doesn't love destroying stuff? Well, in this video we're going to take a look at a demolition hammer or a jackhammer. The reason I got this guy is because I started doing some fence repair and I found that there were a lot of hidden cement blocks impeding my progress. So to be able to do the fence repair, I need to break up some of those old cement blocks. So I got this electric jackhammer to help me do just that. As always, I did my research and I found that Vevor had a better jackhammer than Harbor Freight. I'll show you in this video why this Vevor breaker hammer is a much better purchase than either the Hercules or the Bauer from Harbor Freight. So if you've been looking for a powerful and economical breaker hammer but didn't know which one to get, then stick around as I unbox and test this guy. Alright guys, so when you unbox this puppy, this is everything you get. So let's talk a little bit about some of the features that this guy has, but before we get started testing this guy, do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. That way you get notified every time I do another product review video, DIY project, or a sale at a big box store where I can help you save more money. Alright then, so this is a 3500 watt electric demolition hammer from Vevor, available on Amazon, link in description below. At the time of making this video, this kit retails for $149.99, and the warranty on this guy is 1 year. Now the dimensions on these guys are, for the tool only, you're looking at 27 inches by 12 inches by 6 inches, and the case is 29 inches by 12 inches by 7 inches. As far as weight goes, for the tool only, you're looking at 47 pounds. For the tool and the case, everything stored together, you're looking at about 55, 56 pounds approximately. So what's included in this kit? Well, you're looking at the demolition hammer, 2 bits, the oil, glasses, gloves, manual, and some brushes to keep everything taken care of. Now this kit brings 2 chisels, a point and a flat. Harbor Freight does not include any chisels with either the Bauer or the Hercules breaker hammer, so you have to buy those separately. This demolition hammer has a 3500 watt or 29 amp motor that puts out 60 joules or 44 foot-pounds of braking force. This demolition hammer produces 1900 BPMs or beats per minute of braking force. This demolition hammer has an aluminum alloy construction, making it durable and lightweight. This hammer also has a shock-absorbing design handle and a locking trigger switch to make it for less user fatigue. Plus, this hammer also has a 360-degree rotating handle to make it more convenient to adjust for your work angle. Now, at the beginning of the video, I said that this Vevor breaker hammer was a better value than both the Harbor Freight Bauer or Hercules. The reason for this comes down to both features and price. This Vevor demolition hammer has more features and a lower price than anything Harbor Freight has to offer. Starting with the Bauer breaker hammer, the Bauer costs $400, which is much more expensive than this one from Vevor, but the Bauer only produces 1300 BPMs and has a 15 amp or 1800 watt motor. Plus, it only puts out 34 foot-pounds or 46 joules of force, much weaker in every way when compared to the Vevor. On the other hand, the Hercules, the best and most expensive model Harbor Freight has to offer, costs $500, but it only produces 1700 BPMs and has a 15 amp or 1800 watt motor, plus it only produces 22 foot-pounds or 29 joules of force. Again, much weaker, yet more expensive than this one that I got from Vevor. I should also point out, as I did previously, that this one from Vevor includes 2 chisels, where at Harbor Freight you have to buy the chisel separately, costing you even more money. So all in all, Vevor offers a much more powerful demolition hammer and a much better value. I like to get the best value for my money, so this is the one that I chose. So let's take a little closer look at this guy, and then we'll do some testing and see how this guy performs. Alright guys, so let's take a little closer look at this guy and talk about some of the features that it has. I already told you a lot of stuff about this guy in the description, but let's go over some of the features right now. So basically, as you can see right there, the handle is an anti-vibration design. You see the 2 shock-absorbing points, one on each side, and you have the rubber overmold on the top and the locking trigger switch. That way, you don't get as tired when you're using it. It also has this handle right here, and this guy also has a thick rubber overmold to it. I mean, that's a rubber insert right there. It is pretty thick, so that should reduce vibration right there. And that knob right there, you undo it, and then the handle will rotate 360 degrees anywhere around the machine. So you can set it up anywhere that's comfortable for you. Now, this guy is pretty heavy. It is about 50 pounds in weight. So it's not a lightweight. It is a heavy duty machine. And you see, this is massive right here where it has the control for the chisels. And I already inserted one right there. It has that little pin right there. You move it, rotate it, all that kind of stuff. So you put these guys in. And that shows you right there the locking mechanism on these guys. And these guys are not lightweight. These guys maybe 7, 8 pounds, maybe 10. So it is pretty heavy duty. They are not lightweight puppies. Now, as far as the machine goes, let me show you right here. Turn that guy. That is the ventilation for the motor right there. So that way you keep that guy cool. And it does bring brushes for it. So in the future, if you need to, you can always replace the brushes. This sight glass right there, that is where you put the oil. And it brings this little guy here, a wrench, to be able to open that up. That is where you put the oil in there. And you keep that guy lubricated. Now, it says in the manual, and I definitely suggest you read through that, it says in the manual, like every 50, 60 hours, you have to replace the oil. You dump out the old one and you put in fresh oil. So it's probably going to get dirty or break down or whatever the case may be. But it says dump out the old oil and put in fresh oil. And it does come with some oil. There you go. That is the oil that it comes with. It doesn't say anything about it, what it is or any of that. But in the manual, it says to use 1540 oil. So that's exactly what you got to put in there. I mean, to me, that kind of looks like a 10 weight. But, I could be wrong. It says 1540, so that's what you got to put in there. I don't know if that's 10 weight or not. That's the one that came with it. That's the one I'm going to use. So in the future, 1540 is what you got to put in there. So pretty heavy, beefy machine. And like I said previously, a lot better value than what you get from Harbor Freight. For under $200, where Harbor Freight's like $400 or $500, that is a big price difference right there. And this guy brings you the chisels, the gloves, the glasses, the oil, a mask, everything you need to do the job. So let's set this guy up. I'm going to put the oil in it, and we'll go outside and do some testing with this guy. All right, guys, since I know someone's going to ask me to show you how to do this, I'll go ahead and I'll show you how to add the oil so no one complains about it. So this little sight glass right here, you take the little wrench, you loosen it, and you remove it. Simple as that. That little guy right there. I put the oil in this little container that comes with it, and you just pour it in there, and I'm going to pour it all in there. It says to fill it up to halfway, something like that, and I'm pretty sure this is the amount of oil that it needs, because it's bone dry. There's nothing in there. So probably fill it up with that whole amount, and we'll look at the sight glass once it is done. Well, you probably won't be able to look at it until you stand it up. That's the way it has to be, but it is gobbling this all up, and I don't have any other oil, so I'm pretty sure this is the amount that you need to put into it. So there you go. That's the entire amount right there. Now we close up the little sight glass. And it is a metal sight glass, by the way. It's not plastic. It is metal. So you take the little wrench and you tighten this guy back up. And it has a little O-ring on there, so it should not leak out. Make it tight. Not extremely tight, but just tight enough. And there you go. You snug it down, and that should be the end of it. Now, when you stand it up, the sight glass should be about halfway. And when you stand it up, that is the amount of oil that it shows through the sight glass. So there you go, almost about halfway. That should be sufficient. I don't think you want to fill it too much because that could be bad for the machine. It could start leaking, whatever. So that's the amount of oil that it brings, about halfway up. So there you have it. All right, guys, so here we are outside, and now we're going to check and see what this little jackhammer can do. So basically what we're looking at here is a big chunk of concrete that I got from when the city was doing some street repair, sidewalk repair in my neighborhood, and they had a pile of debris out there. So I grabbed a few different pieces of it because I thought they might be useful for some future video just like this one. So this is about 4.5 to 5 inches of solid concrete. Let's see what this little jackhammer can do. And it's going to lose a little bit of power to it because, as you see, it's bouncing on the dirt. but I put it on top of the dirt, on top of the grass, because I didn't want to put it on top of concrete. I didn't want the vibration to crack my good concrete. I just wanted to break this piece right here. So I'm sure if you're cutting into a solid piece of concrete, you probably get some better bite into it and better breaking it apart than I'm getting right here, right now. So just keep that in mind, keep that as a consideration right there, that the bouncing around on the dirt is going to reduce the efficiency of the breaking of the breaker hammer itself. But so far it seems to be doing a good job. Like I said, you can't see because of the grass around it, but this is a big solid piece, like 5 inches in thickness, and I'll show you as I break up more of it how thick the pieces really are. But it's cutting into it with no trouble whatsoever. Like you see, I had to hold it with my foot there, so it stops it from bouncing around, but it is a big chunk. So if you want to cut into this, you either have to break it by hand with a sledgehammer, or this is a much, much better way where you get a lot less tired. And as you see, and part of it right here is so solid that it refuses to just split in two. It just refuses to break. I'm making a big hole there, but it's not breaking in two. So I have to keep drilling further and further in to get it to actually, cause a fissure and cause it to break apart. So that's what you get when you're breaking up concrete. But so far, doing a good job. And you see a lot of dust being blown up there, but there you see, I broke it into about 3 different parts there, so it did its job fairly well. Now let's keep breaking up the rest of it and see how we can break these chunks up and go from there. And it's not really a very noisy jackhammer either, I will say that. It's not very noisy at all. Not like the pneumatic ones, the air-driven ones, which are really, really noisy. I'm sure you've heard the city using those. Those have a lot more power and a lot more noise to them. So here I'm going to show you what the different sizes of these guys are. And you can see that is some big chunks of rocks right there that I just broke apart with this jackhammer. So there you have it, guys, a review and demonstration of a jackhammer that is a much better value than what Harbor Freight has to offer. You can get this guy at Vevor anytime you like. Check out the links below for all the information. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye for now.